Hello everybody, this is Alex from Hardcoin Guides, bringing you my guide for Dead Space 2 on Zealot difficulty. Today we are doing Chapter 3, entitled, I'm Back to Walking Again. So, taking place right after the train section from Chapter 2, we literally are back to walking again. Although we're not actually technically walking, we're running. Dad jokes aside, welcome to Chapter 3. This is the chapter that's going to start spawning in the Swarm. And the Swarm are... I meant to mention this in the last video, but I kind of forgot to do it. They are the sole reason why I buy a second gun. Now, technically speaking, if you really wanted to be powerful and you really wanted to make sure your life was a bit easier than mine that I made it out to be, which is kind of my fault, because I always had this belief that pulse rifle would be the true and honest answer to everything. The force gun works great, honestly. If you really wanted to go with it, I would recommend going with the force gun. Any of the guns that are free as well, I'd go for those. Also, this guy wakes up, so... yeah, watch out for him. You know how it goes. I'd suggest just shooting off an arm at this point. Like, start learning how to shoot off arms. If you really want to save ammo. Because I remember mentioning, like, ammo scarcity is a thing. And I talk about that, like, every video now. But it's true. Like, ammo scarcity is a bit more of a thing in this game than it was in the first game. That's for sure. But yeah, the whole reason I run pulse rifle to begin with is because of the Swarm and how obnoxious they are. And they're going to start spawning right here. They're not hard, but the thing that makes them even remotely difficult is when you're fighting other enemies and then you have to deal with them at the same time. They don't necessarily do like a ton of damage, but they can just be obnoxious enough to where they get in the way, and then they kind of take your focus off of like, say, stronger enemies, and they just are a constant spawn of creatures. And that's, I think, the worst part about them. Yeah, they're fun to fight against. I mean, like any other necromorph basically is. And they go down usually one shot, which is fine and dandy. But the main issue is that there's so many of them. And that starts to kind of impact the game later. And they're so frequent and obnoxious to the point where, you know, well, they're not incredibly frequent, but they're obnoxious enough. Why don't I sell my shit? What's wrong with me? That the final boss will literally use them as a tool in the final boss fight. Yeah, I know, it's baffling, but yeah. Also, if you're wondering, the guns that do not have the elemental ability on them, I think are the ones that are the quote-unquote free guns. I don't remember how we got these guns. I think they might have been DLC stuff. And yeah, I did forget to solve my schematics. I apologize for that. They do get sold off eventually, and that's just my fault. You can shoot this guy if you want. I mean, hey, you know, for one shot and you get 3 shots back, it's not bad. Also, upgrading the plasma cutter to the fullest extent, well, at least upgrading it to the node where you can unlock the special ability, is something I, again, still recommend. The special ability allows you to have fire attachment to it. Whenever you shoot enemies, they actually burn, and that saves you from having to actually stomp them, which is nice. So, not a bad deal if you ask me, if you're going for that. I forget what pulse rifle comes with. I forget what every other weapon comes with, because I don't really play Dead Space 2 to the point where, you know, I know every nook and cranny of everything. I've played Dead Space 1 way more than I played Dead Space 2. I think I mentioned that, but I do play it a lot more often than I do Dead Space 2. Mainly because Dead Space 1 is just a bit easier to kind of just pick up and play again. Although Dead Space 2 is much, much shorter, which is funny. But Dead Space 1 is not incredibly hard anymore, or ever really was that hard. Maybe a bit difficult in the beginning, but yeah. So down here, there is that glass window that you can shoot, which will, of course, open up the airlock. And you can use that to your advantage if you want to take these guys out. But I decided to go for shooting them because I wanted stuff. Literally the entire reason I did that in the first place. I waited for them to come toward me and then just start shooting them so I can get stuff. Unfortunately, the stuff that I got was jack and shit. After that, there's going to be a swarm that spawns, and then I decide to open the airlock thing or just shoot the glass and just kill these guys off because I thought there'd be just too many, but no. So, your choice. You can either just shoot the glass to open it up and get these guys away from you, or, you know, save them, kill them when they spawn in, and just be done with them, I guess, and get stuff back. Possibly money. Now, the thing is, you know, if you do happen to shoot an enemy typically it takes about 3 shots to get, and if the enemy doesn't spawn a plasma cutter clip, which is 3 shots, by the way, then you've pretty much kind of technically wasted ammo. So that's something to kind of keep in mind. But don't beat yourself up for that. You know, take a look at me. You know, I'm running through this crap like I'm getting my ass wrecked, and I'm doing pretty okay. I could have done way better, but you're learning from the true master of failure, and that's something important. Also, I think that swarmer that was dead there, I think you can hit him. I ended up dying, actually. That's why my plasma cutter was aimed the wrong way. Nah, it's aimed vertically because, you know, when you die, you restart and you get it back to vertical. But yeah, you see on the far right, the special, that's what you kind of want to go for. As well as going for your extra damage and probably potentially reload speed. Go for whatever you want. It doesn't matter, but still, it doesn't hurt to try to at least get that extra damage. That's the main important thing I can think of. So once you come down here, a puker's going to spawn. After that, it's going to be, you know, more swarmers, and then I just kind of use their arms to my advantage to just take these guys out. After that, exploding one's going to pop in, and I use him to just kind of blow up everything and then get all the ammo and save the day. So yeah, pukers, you saw right there that they had the ability to shoot puke at you, but it does barely any damage. And that's the thing I was talking about in Chapter 1, where they actually shoot you from a distance, but they do nothing to you. Except slow you down. It pretty much just does no damage. It's very odd how that works, but... And I don't know if... No, actually, there's no way to really technically tell. I mean, I'd have to just heal and then use... I'd have to use a heal, but I think I either have them or I don't. I don't know, because there was one that I could pick up there a second ago. And I know I'm full on stuff, but I don't know if I'm full on heals, though. I think I probably have some, so I probably could have gotten away with using a heal to see if I actually took damage or not, but I never really tested that theory out. As far as I know, they do either no damage or they do extremely minimal damage. But you can tell just by my health bar that did jack and shit, so... Don't worry about the pukers too much if you're out of range. If you're too close to them, then yeah, that's a worry. But basically, if you just stay up in that area that I was kind of staying up at, you'll pretty much just be fine. I don't think anybody spawns behind you, so you're pretty much alright. Also, the thing I like about Dead Space 2 is the zero gravity sections are much better and much tighter than they were in Dead Space 1, because, my lord, Dead Space 1. Dead Space 1 zero gravity, guys. If you guys know what I'm talking about, then you know what I'm talking about, but if you don't, then go play Dead Space 1, the original, and then talk to me about, you know, zero gravity. I don't mind it, I just, man, you know, it's such a different case when you're playing Dead Space 2. It's much different. Also, as far as I know, there's only the one guy, which I find kind of bizarre. I don't know what I'm doing here. I kind of forgot where the hell the damn thing went to until I realized that, oh yeah, that's right, it goes here. Something cool I want to make mention real fast. I know I don't shut up, that's just how I am. Is when it's dark, you can actually see like the light coming out of your helmet. I think that's really cool. But yeah, this is the part where I hopefully start spinning my shit and getting rid of crap. But I do end up dropping things to make sure that I have room to pick this stuff up. I mean, plus, you know, I mean, line racks and ripper blades, I don't need those. I'm not running ripper, I'm not running line. So I'll take the health pack and I'll definitely take the schematic. Because typically a gold schematic should be, in theory, enough to kind of almost get you either close to getting a power node back, or at the very least, getting a full power node. Getting half of one or at least a full one, because I think they are pretty expensive, right? For gold semiconductors, I think? I don't remember. I'll have to look in the next store and we'll find out. Also, I like how the game sometimes just gives you power nodes. It's not frequent enough to where I would say, oh yeah, just spend all your power nodes, and then if you find a power node door, then you could just find another power node. It's that easy. Yeah, but yeah, you probably could, but you have to backtrack. So yeah, swarmers are about the same as they were in the original game, but now they're a bit bigger. Well, not really bigger, but I guess they're just easier to spot, in my opinion. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's my brain juices working or what's going on, but they typically don't swarm on you as much as they used to. And that's a good thing. Now, the key thing to them, though, is you want to make sure that there's not too many attacking you at once. They still do damage, even though there's only like one or maybe two, But the more that are on you at a time, the more damage you'll take, and that's something to kind of look out for. And that's why typically if you're fighting them and you want to get rid of them, then just take on one at a time and blast them off and free damage on them that you don't have to take damage from, which is nice. I skipped this part because I thought it would be a long cutscene. It's not super long, but it's long enough to skip, so I'm going to skip all those. I have no point in really talking about them or even wanting to sit through them again, so I also don't want to make anybody else have to sit through them because people that play this game, we have to sit through those. And yeah, I hate sitting through crap. It's just a thing I don't like. God, I wish we would get a Dead Space 4, and I wish it would be, like, good. I didn't think Dead Space 3 was terrible, but man, I want Dead Space 2 again, you know? I know, like, Dead Space Remake was fine, but man, was it buggy as shit. Did I tell you guys about that? It actually corrupted my save file to the point where I couldn't beat Impossible mode. Oops. Yeah, no joke. I got to, like, the part where you're taking off in the ship. Like, chapter... Oh, God damn it, what was it? Chapter 10 or something like that. And then next thing I know, the ship doesn't spawn. So I can't leave. And then I tried messing with the save. And then Isaac just disappears. And it's like, what the hell? But yeah, come down here to the right. There's going to be a spawner. After that, there's going to be a puker. This is the same area that I believe that eventually spawns pregnants. But as it stands right now, you're mostly going to be fighting exploding... I think they're called pods. No, they're not pods or something else. Exploding pods, maybe? Exploders, how about that? You're going to be fighting exploders, and you're going to be fighting, like, two spawners. And they're typically pretty easy to kill if you have, like, the same amount of potential damage that I have. Like, 3 shots, and they should pretty much die. Again, I don't think it technically matters where you shoot them at, as long as you shoot them somewhere. But I tried my best to go for at least something that looks like a limb. But anyway, yeah, that's pretty much the end of Chapter 3, and now on to Chapter 4, which is a potential favorite of mine. So, see you all then, and take care, everybody.